Starting a podcast could be an awesome strategy for your organization to get new clients, to create strategic partnerships, to create more value for your customers or clients, to create stickiness, to raise awareness. It's an awesome vehicle to not only help people, but then also create value and potentially grow your business and clients. So there's a couple things you should think about before you start your business and a couple things to work out. Number one is you want to create a ICP, an ideal customer profile, or really your ideal readership or listenership profile. Who are the people you're talking to? Who do you want to create this for? And then work your way backwards. From there, once you've created your ideal customer or your ideal audience, you then want to figure out what problem they're experiencing that you can speak to. Now, if you're in a business and you're trying to market your services with a podcast, you could create, obviously what are clients you want to grow in, what are clients you want to acquire, determine what that type of organization or business is, and then work through what is the problem they're facing that you want this podcast to solve. So ultimately, you want to create who is your audience and what problem are they experiencing, and then build your content around that. From there, you'll want to start working on ultimately creating the systems to build out this podcast. And there's a couple tools that I've used and a couple resources I've used. Is number one, Anchor.fm. It's a Spotify company that you can post your podcast on Spotify or Apple, and it's super easy to set up. You can upload your post. You can even monetize it and make money off your podcast, and you can post and upload all of your podcasts there. Super cool. Next thing you should have in place is a freelancer to help you edit the audio. So unless you're an audio engineer, I'm not, and I hired somebody to do this, you can do it very affordably where they can edit the audio to make sure it sounds super great. You can choose whether you want them to take out the ums and the breaks and the awkward pauses, or you can leave that all in there to create more of an authentic experience. Ultimately, though, you want to hire somebody to help you package everything. And they can also help you put on intros and outros or breaks in the middle. And what I'll do is I'll record the podcast with the audience or whoever the person I'm doing it with, or if I'm doing it solo, I'll then record a separate intro and outro for the audio engineer to send all three to them. And ultimately they can put it all together and create a awesome finalized product for you. And where I'd look for this freelancer is Upwork. I love Upwork. I found some great audio engineers on there or people that can help you create videos and all sorts of cool stuff. So I would post a project on Upwork for somebody that can help you edit your podcast audio and create your final product, ultimately an audio engineer. Next thing you want in place is to create a LinkedIn profile where you can then reach out to people to be your guest on your podcast. I've used that exclusively. I haven't interviewed anyone on our podcast that I knew before without reaching them on LinkedIn. And you'll be surprised. People are super honored to be asked. And if they're not super famous, they're most likely available to come on at some point. If you have some things prepared before you go ask a guest to be on your podcast, things like the subject matter, maybe the 10 questions you're going to ask them. Who is the target audience, right? Who are they talking to as well? Who is the ideal customer profile, right? And then what problem are you trying to solve with this, right? Give them that information in advance. Let them know how big of a company you are, how big your organization is. Let them know how you're marketing it. These are all things that are super helpful that will show that you have validity in your concept, that you're not wasting their time. It's worked out. And then ask them to be on the podcast, record it, and then ultimately you can have them help promote it as well. Super cool aspect. So the things you should remember when starting a podcast are, first, create your ideal customer profile and the problem you're going to solve. Between these two things, you can then create an audience, a topic, really fine tune and dial in on what you want to talk about and how you're going to solve it. The next thing is use Anchor.fm to post and publish your podcast. Great tool to use that. The next is to use Upwork to find a freelancer or your other networks, or if you have one that you know that can help you edit the audio and create a great finished product. Last but not least, you can use LinkedIn to find people to be on your podcast and make sure you have a well thought out podcast. And once again, give them the ideal customer profile, give them the problem you're solving, let them know how you're going to market the podcast, let them know what are the questions you're going to ask them on the podcast, let them know what's required. Is it going to be video on, video off? Is it going to be live? Are you going to have it LinkedIn Live or have some sort of live component of it? And really lay out everything you want and require of them in the podcast, and then ask them to, if they agree and you record the podcast together, ask them to help you market it. It's a great way to get free marketing for your company and for the podcast, and everyone wins from it. Hope this video is super helpful. Please like the video below if it was. Add any comments or any questions you have below. We'll try to get to them. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next video.